Hello everyone, on this video we are going to continue where we left on the previous one, and we are going to build the preview section. You can see here, the image I'm using as a reference is this section here. This section is composed by an image and text and a gradient. You can see here it's darker on the bottom. So let's build it in the storyboard. Go here to the second cell. This video is part of a series. This is the fourth video. If you didn't watch the previous, I highly recommend you to. So let's add here the image and then the label. First the image view, this one, put it here, and now change the content mode and put here an image just to preview, and the content mode put it as scale to fill. We can now add the label here on this, so go to the plus sign and write label and put it here. Okay, now we can add the constraint option and to itself aspect ratio. Go here, edit and put it 1:1 to put the width with the same size as the height. Okay, now go here. We don't need the button. We can unselect this one and then change the others. Five and 5. Okay, so done. Now we can continue. I don't like this image, so I'm going to change. Select the image and go here. Make sure the content mode is scale to fill. We changed it already, and I'm going to change the image. This is just a preview, so I will take the Hobbit image. Okay, put the constraint to the label now. Okay, here select the left and the right side, 10-ish. The bottom 10 as well, and it's all good. Change to center, and let's change the font as well. So select font, and you have several attributes here you can select, but I'm going to change the font. And here, let's see, this one. Then let's continue. Now we can change this to make sure if the text is too long that the size adapts, and let's change the preview for this cell. So select the preview cell and to custom. This is just to see better here in the storyboard. We will change it on the runtime using Swift. So now we can create the class. Select CocoaTouch. The superclass is UICollectionView cell, and I will call it preview cell. Create. We can now put here the constant to use as a user identifier is a string, and describing is preview dot cell. So preview cell dot self. I will change it. Preview. Okay, now it's right. Preview cell.self, like this. We can continue. Now copy this, go to main.storyboard and put the identifier. I always forget this, so now I will put on the beginning. Okay, all done here. We can go to view controller and change here where we create the cell and put as highlight cell. We can create a protocol, and in that protocol we use the function show movie. Then all the cells conform to that protocol, and in the view controller we make sure that the type of the cell corresponds to view cell. I will show you that. In code I think it's easier to explain. So I'm creating another protocol and put here the function show movie that takes as a movie as argument. It's option. So now the highlight cell must conform to this protocol. So movie cell, and we already have the show movie function. Now the new cell we created, the preview cell, must also conform to this protocol, and we need to create the function, the show movie. I'll put this in the bottom, put it here, and just for test I will put the background as red to make sure it's all working fine. I will change it in a bit. Okay, now we can go back to movie feed view controller and create here the cell as movie cell. Okay, it's not showing. Let's rebuild movie. Okay, now it's showing movie cell. Our arrow's gone. We can build it and create the new function to create this section. But first let's give the right identifier. So a switch here and check the section. If it is the first one, so the section index is 0, we should use the highlight cell identifier. If it is 1, we should use the preview. And the default, in the next video we will create it, but for now I will keep as the preview. So the reuse identifier, okay, and here it is equal the preview cell dot reuse identifier. Reuse identifier, and the default reuse identifier, we can copy this. Like I said, I will change this in the next video. The next video will be the last one of this series, so we are almost done. We can run it. Okay, we need to first uncomment this because we only are supplying one section. We can uncomment here, and this way now we can run it and it will show the two sections here. Okay, we can run it now. You can see the red background, so it's calling the right cell. We can configure now. First let's uncomment all of this here as well. We don't need to comment this. I commented in the previous video just to show you the section we were working, but now I think we don't need that. So the default, as you can see, is also the preview cell. We will change it later, but now let's focus on configure this cell. Let's do that now. We can go to the preview cell and connect the label and the image to the Swift class. So open main.storyboard here and click option and open the preview cell. Okay, you can connect this. First the image, put it here, auto it, and call it image. Now the label, put it here and call it title. Okay, now in show movie we can remove this was just for test, and now change the image and the label. Image equals movie dot thumbnail, thumbnail, yes, and the title as well. Change text equals movie dot title. Let's run it. Okay, you can see the image is changing and the title as well. Let's put now this section with the right dimensions. Okay, so, but first we need to create the extension to put it around and add the gradient. So let's call it Y image view extensions and put here two functions, one for each goal. So Y image view, and the first one to put it around, and the second to add the gradient. Make it ground and add gradient function, add gradient. I will show you the image I'm using as a reference and show you what I mean by the gradient. If you see here the preview, I'll show. Okay, here you can see the bottom is a little bit darker. That's the goal for this function. But first let's build the make round function. As argument it takes the border color, and I put as default here this nil. Okay, and the border width as well, and the default is a float type, CG float, and the default is 2. Okay, and here we should use the layer and put it with the border width as the one we will receive, and the layer dot border color equals the color we receive. Okay. The radius now, and it is the height divided by 2.2. I tested and I think this is the value that looks better. Okay, and keep to bounds equals true. we can use this function now. So to do that, we need to go to the preview cell and call it there. So preview cell here, and call the function we just created. And call it aids image and not make it run. Make run without the it. Make run. Okay, now we can run it just to make sure it is working. And as you can see, we have already here the radius, but because the dimensions are not correct, we have this effect, but it is working. You can see it made some change. Now we can add the border color and the width. The width I will keep the default, and the color gray. We have Neil, but I'll put a gray. I think it looks better. So color literal, and this one here. We can now change the dimensions. So let's go to movie view controller and change this section dimensions. So it's here. I like. Okay, we can copy this and create a function to supply the preview section, and we should call it here in the switch. The case 1, it is this new method. So get preview section like this, and this one for now. Then in the next video, like I said, I will change it. The default, the preview, it's gonna be done on this video. So preview section and fraction with 3 and the height 3 and the width, I think it looks better with 30% of the parent, and here 20. I changed it to 30, but I think 20 is better. So let's change this to continuous and test it. Click run. It looks fine, and here. Okay, now we can scroll it. We need to add now the gradient and the title for the sections, and then on the next video the other sections, the rectangular. But now we can go to the preview cell and add the gradient. Image dot add gradient, then we will go to the extension and build this function. So image dot add gradient. Okay, like this. Let's go to the extension and build this method. First, put the arguments here, the start color and the end color. Start color is CG color as well, and the default is Y color and 0, 0, 0 and .1. The end color, I can copy this and change the values manually. So let's copy this and change here the values. To 1 and here where this gradient starts. 7.32 equals 0. It looks better this way in multiple lines. First create the gradient. And set the frame. And then the colors. Now the colors. So gradient dot colors. And put the start and the end color. Start color and end color. Now we can insert gradient and add the position we pass. Okay, we can test it now, but as we will see, the gradient is added every time the user scrolls down and up. So every time the view enters in the UI. You can see here is a little bit dark, but if I scroll it down, and now it's out of sight, now up, down, you can see the bottom and the top are darker. We can fix this by creating a variable that makes sure the layer is only added once. So it's a boolean gradient added and equals false. Then the first time when I set the gradient, I check if the gradient was added. If it was not added, I can add and make this boolean as true. So equals true, and I only add this if it was not added previously on this cell. Okay, let's build it again. You can see it only adds the gradient once. So I think I will finish the video here. On the next one I will conclude this series and put the final touch to make it more similar to this image I'm using as reference. So if you like this one and if you don't want to miss the last one, don't forget to subscribe, and see you there.